All right, let's talk about television. We spend hours with it every week, but the industry behind that screen is way bigger and, frankly, way weirder than most of us realize. We're going to pull back the curtain and see what's really going on.
So, let me ask you, when I say the word television, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Are you thinking about that new show you're binging on Netflix? Or maybe catching the local news? Watching the big game with your friends? Yeah, all of that totally counts.
But what if I told you that all of that stuff, every show, every stream, every broadcast, is just the tiny, visible tip of a colossal iceberg? That the part of the industry we all know and love is actually just a sliver of the real thing.
Get this, all the entertainment, broadcast, and cable TV that we watch, it makes up only about 5% of the entire television production industry. Just 5%. Which begs the question, right? What in the world is going on in the other 95%?
Okay, so before we dive into those deep, dark waters, let's stick with what we know for a minute. Let's talk about that 5%, the part of the iceberg we can all see. This is consumer television, and it really boils down to two main types.
First up, we've got a key term, commercial broadcast television. The important thing here is that it's programming that's free for you to watch. Now, the word broadcast used to mean one thing, a signal sent from a giant tower to the antenna on your roof.
And yeah, those towers are definitely still out there. But today, broadcast is a much bigger idea. It includes shows sent through a cable, streamed online, and yep, even those live streams you see on social media. The bottom line is the same. It's a signal sent out for free that anyone can pick up.
Now, the second category is one we are all very familiar with, subscriber television. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's any TV you have to pay a fee for to get access to the content.
And this is a huge part of our lives, right? We're talking about everything from traditional cable and satellite TV to all the streaming giants. You know, your Netflix, your Hulus, your Disney+. The industry has a fancy name for these, over-the-top or OTT media, because they come to you over the top of the internet, skipping the old-school cable guy.
Okay, you ready? We're about to go below the surface and explore that hidden 95% of the television industry. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is where most of the jobs in video production actually are.
This non-broadcast world is massive, but we can kind of break it down into four main buckets. You've got industrial TV, educational TV, closed-circuit TV, and of course, the giant world of social media and video sharing. Let's look at each one.
So first, there's industrial television, or corporate TV. Think about it. Every time a company makes a training video for new hires, or a safety video for a factory, or even a flashy promo video for a big conference, that's industrial television. It's a massive field that most of us never even see.
Then you've got educational television. We might immediately think of channels like PBS, but it's so much bigger than that. It's any video shown in a classroom, any how-to guide on YouTube, any documentary meant to teach you something. The goal here isn't profit, it's to inform.
And then there's this, closed-circuit television, or CCTV. This is video that is absolutely not meant for the public, and the most common example is surveillance. Every security camera in a store, a bank, on a traffic light, they are all part of an enormous television system. The amount of video being created here is just mind-boggling. And that leads us to the polar opposite, social media and video sharing. It's a gigantic piece of today's video world that's completely rewriting the rules, blurring the line between who makes TV and who watches it.
So, we've seen the true scale of the TV world now, from that little 5% tip of the iceberg to the massive 95% below. But let's zoom back in on that 5%. How does the TV we watch at home actually make money? What's the engine that powers the whole thing?
To get the business side, you've got to know two key players, the network and the affiliate. The network, think of a big name like NBC or CBS, is the big company that creates or buys a bunch of programming. The affiliate is your local TV station that makes a deal to show that network stuff.
This schedule is the perfect example of how it works. You can see the network provides the big, expensive primetime shows and the national news. But the local affiliate, they're responsible for filling in all the other hours of the day with things like your local news, weather, and other shows they buy themselves.
So, where does the money come from? It all comes down to advertising. A company, say a car brand, pays your local station to air its commercial. The station takes that money and uses it to pay for the shows it puts on the air. And here's the most important part. Without that ad money, the station can't afford to air the program. It's that simple. The whole system runs on ads.
And this whole money thing leads to one of the biggest myths in television. You hear all the time that a show is highly rated. What does that really mean? You might think it means critics loved it or that it's a high-quality show. Nope, it has nothing to do with quality. A high rating just means a whole lot of people were watching. That's it. More viewers means the station can charge advertisers more money. It's purely a numbers game.
So we've kind of blown up a couple of big ideas, right? First, that TV is just the stuff we watch on our couch. And second, that a show's rating has anything to do with whether it's good. So with that in mind, let's try to put it all together and redefine what TV even is anymore.
And if you take away only one thing from all this, let it be this. You have to remove any idea that television is an art form. It can be artistic for sure. Great art can happen on TV. But the industry of television is a business. First, last, and always. Every single decision is driven by money.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question. We've seen the definition of broadcast stretch from a tower to a TikTok live stream. We know most video production isn't even for entertainment. So looking at everything out there today, what do you think even counts as television anymore? It's a question that the industry itself is still trying to answer. Thanks for tuning in.